Hello, this is Michael Howard with Nichefire, and thank you for clicking on this video to learn more about Nichefire. So let's talk about that. What is Nichefire? We are a Cincinnati-based company that helps clients see and act on previously invisible competitive and consumer insights using social intelligence. Our proprietary AI technology study millions of data points from numerous sources, and our expert consultants package it up into useful recommendations. Kind of like a McKinsey that's powered by social data. But we all know there's a lot of data on the web, from social media, forums, blogs, review sites, search data. There are millions of conversations and millions of brands trying to be a part of those conversations each day. And our goal is to turn this data into something useful. So we operate as a back-end platform for social intelligence research and offer the raw analysis to help you rapidly draw conclusions from those insights. We use our proprietary AI technologies to provide market knowledge on competitors and consumer behavior. So what is social intelligence? This practice uses various online data sources where brands and consumers interact to answer business questions. We cover a number of areas in social intelligence, but wherever there's discourse between consumers and brands, our platform analyzes that information and supplies rapid insights from that. We are firm believers that social intelligence can provide insights on a number of use cases. In fact, we've been able to help our clients establish competitive advantages in their marketing strategies, identify strengths and weaknesses in their employee recruitment, and find opportunities for new markets and products and more using social intelligence. So where does Nichefire fit into all of this? And how do we do it? We are the experts in turning qualitative data into quantifiable insights using the latest and greatest methods in AI that are not typically available in your standard solutions. Unlike most technologies, we operate as a hybrid service model with social intelligence as our backbone. What that means is that every engagement is bespoke to your specific needs while allowing you the granularity and flexibility of a technology provider. We thrive on building a solution around your specific need that you can continuously use and get value from. So specifically, what we do is we'll first assess and collect data sets from our network of partners and API taps, and then other publicly available sources as well. Then this data is funneled through our backend AI infrastructure. This infrastructure is made up of over 1,500 pre-trained classifiers and scoring systems. And if your project requires any customized classifier models, we build those for you as part of the project. This also includes any predictive modeling, clustering, or custom AI, and more, that if your project needs that. And then all this data is funneled to you, either as raw data, customized dashboards in your business intelligence solution of choice, or reports in which our analysts package that customized recommendations. What's great is that this will all continuously operate and analyze data for you over time, as if it were your own in-house analytics technology. However, social data is great at painting one part of the picture, but for an effective multi-touch attribution strategy or a thorough understanding of the market, we want to be able to paint the whole picture. And that data needs to be analyzed efficiently and effectively. And so our solution can actually syndicate data from numerous resources and layer it in with that social data to improve your analysis. We then analyze all the qualitative information and develop predictions and recommendations based on your brand's activity, your competitor's activity, and your consumer's activity. So in a nutshell, this web on the right is what it looks like. More or less an outsourced AI-enhanced data syndication hub that will provide reports, dashboards, and data in whatever format you or any other stakeholder will need it in. We broke down this service process into 3 parts. 1, data aggregation. 2, analysis and predictions. And 3, reporting and delivery. So let's talk about that. The first part is data aggregation. So how do we collect data and what sources are available to analyze? First off, all of our data is collected either through our own taps into publicly available APIs and data sources, or through a network of partners that we've established. These sources fall under 2 types. Standard sources and premium sources. Our standard sources are what you would typically find within a social intelligence solution, with the addition of reviews aggregation from products, employer review sites, and other companies if that's a source you're interested in. We often break these down into 2 types of data sets though. Firm-based data, which is great for analyzing competitor communications and responses to those brands, And then user-based data, which is great for consumer-focused research. And also too, if there's any data on your side, we can funnel that in. Then our premium data sources are syndicated through our network of partners. In some sources, we actually have our own taps into that data, such as search or web traffic data. These include any paid media, traditional outlets, Nielsen retail measurement service data, and more. Let's move on to the second part. What does Nichefire do with the data and how is it analyzed? There are actually 4 things that we do with this data before it's packaged and sent to you. So the first one is classifications. As I mentioned before, we have a network of over 1,500 classifiers that will categorize and contextualize any qualitative user-generated content and firm-generated content. And if you want custom classifiers, we can implement those for you. Our typical turnaround time for any new model is about a week, and all models are trained using what's called an intercoder agreement approach, which means we have multiple people training similar sets of data, so that way we can maximize the accuracy levels of our models. But we work with a number of subject matter experts and university partners to help train this data as well, so there's actual knowledgeable expertise behind it. 2, and we'll go counterclockwise from that part, is bottom-up review. So often we will use our own unsupervised machine learning modules to cluster textual data sets. The emphasis here is the discovery of new trends and new topics as they emerge. And we share that analysis as it comes up. And we can compile new classifier libraries from this research. And we also have subject matter experts to help us in finding commonalities in this textual data set. 3, the third part is for measurements and estimations. In addition to the standardized data sets that would come with the data you're seeing, such as like engagement counts, view counts, numbers of posts, that sort of thing, we also include a number of our own AI-enhanced metrics. That includes our own proprietary sentiment scoring, emotional expressiveness, performance scores, and more. We'll also be able to build out custom indices and KPIs, which we would expect to do if we are integrating more data sources. And then lastly, for our fourth part, and I think this is one of the most fun parts here, and that's developing correlations and predictions across all the data sets that we would set for your project. There's going to be a lot of data here and a lot of historical data, which paired with our classifiers, we can identify patterns in any competitive activity and develop a prediction on what they may do or how consumers will respond to certain stimuli. Now, since we have more data sources to play with, we can create more complete pictures of the environment. The outputs of this come in the form of indices built from neural networks, linear regressions, time series regression analyses, and more to backtest data sources and measure patterns. And we can do this more effectively with more variables due to our expansive lexicon of metrics and classifiers that we've built. Now for the third part, how do we deliver data and insights? And we do this in 3 ways. First is a data transfer. All the data we collect and analyze is available to you in whatever format you would like. Typically, we use an FTP, or we can pass the data through an existing solution like SharePoint or Box. Ready to roll for you and plug in however you like. And that's it. We can pass this data along to you however frequently you would like as well. For this, another way we do this is through custom dashboards. And so our backend naturally connects into existing business intelligence solutions like Tableau, Power BI, Google Data Studio, you name it. However, many of our clients also ask us to help them build custom dashboards in those solutions so they may interact and dive in whenever they'd like, however they'd like. And that's an area we also specialize in. All the data is updated however frequently you'd like. We can customize dashboards for any stakeholders that will be viewing this data. And one thing I'll also mention, we also build Boolean querying capabilities within these custom dashboards as well. And lastly, a third way is through reports and alerts. And a lot of our clients seek us out for recommendations and insights from our analysts. And we deliver monthly, quarterly, or even one-off reports and consultations. We also provide customized alerting on whatever metrics at whatever frequency you'd like. And of course, we can do any combination of these however you'd like. And so as a result, our approach has been able to help clients save significant amounts of time on this type of reporting and analysis. Most of our clients actually save upwards of 60% of their time. And this, along with better strategic insights that have proven better performance. So on average, our clients see 47% improvements to brand affinity KPIs, 40% improvements to consumer engagement, and not to mention superior customer service that is available to you on a regular basis. So let's look at an example of a project. This is a small example that we put together on Nestle. specifically their brand Sweet Earth, and it's a brand that they acquired not too long ago. And the data we prepared for this is available to you to explore. Please feel free to reach out if you'd like to see that. But there were 3 objectives with this project. 1, to gain a better insight on their competitors' positioning and messaging. 2, to understand how consumers engage and perceive competitors in the marketplace. And 3, how are consumers responding to competitors' products as they're sold at stores and restaurants. And so for this example, we looked at 3 months of Facebook and Reddit data focused on a few competitors in the alternative meat category. This includes Impossible Foods, Morningstar Farms, Beyond Meat, and more. But we used some of our own pre-built classifiers and custom tailored others for this project. And so when we are trying to unveil insights about your market, your consumers, or anything that matters to you, we'll first assess the strategic data sets needed and conduct what's called bottom-up research in that data first. More or less, we let the data tell us what's important. This research is a combination of an expert review on the subject matter, and we'll have subject matter experts help us identify those commonalities, and unsupervised machine learning methods such as word vectorization, LDA, and others. This allows us to organically find commonalities in bodies of text. Then, using our bottom-up research or a genuine understanding of the business question, we develop a top-down approach to discover trends on categories we have identified and partner with subject matter experts to develop training data. And this is using an intercoder agreement approach and transformer or natural language processing. So we create highly accurate multinomial classifier libraries. And here are some examples of the qualitative measurements we built using this approach. So first off, with some firm-generated content, we would look at consumer values, which is more or less a functional, emotional, or societal benefits that are portrayed within the content, various product attributes, and different purchase mediums and occasions that are portrayed within that sort of content. And then for the user-generated content, we'd look at things such as purchase intention and loyalty indicators, product feedback, reference retailers and restaurants, competitors and external influences, as well as sentiment and expressiveness. And we broke down this example into 3 questions. The first one, as a new entrant into the market, how can we position our brand differently? What's working and what's not with current competitors? And so first and foremost, to answer this, we needed to find the commonalities in these brands' messaging. How do they talk about their products? What does their content advertising look like? How do they persuade consumers, and so on and so forth? So here are 2 example insights that we came up for this question. So first with Beyond Meat, developing and growing popularity in stores, talking about healthy and sustainable options, even a convenient option. And then another insight came from Impossible Foods with attracting breakfast consumers, as well as Burger King and Dunkin' Donuts promotion. And so these 2 graphs on the right will show examples of the 2 classifiers we put together to help answer this question. And so this top one here is showing what we call a product attribute classifier. So more or less, our system is identifying which characteristics of these brands' products are being promoted and measures them. In this instance, we're looking at the consumer engagement for Beyond Meat, but we can also look at the brand's efforts as well. And one of the insights we collected was that Beyond Meat's most engaged efforts relate to these reasons to believe. It's a convenient, healthy, and sustainable option now that's available at your local grocery store or restaurant. And the bottom shows a classifier we call consumption occasion, which measures the explicit or implicit reference to the time in which you should consume their products. In this instance, for Impossible Foods, they dominate breakfast. And this is due in part by their partnerships with the Burger King and Dunkin' Donuts. The next question, how do consumers engage and feel about our competitors? Are there any vulnerabilities? So in order to answer this part, we applied a similar approach to consumer commentary, such as product feedback and purchase intent. In order to also measure this, we applied our proprietary sentiment scoring. This is represented on the graphs to the right. Now, our sentiment isn't a simple tag of positive and negative and neutral like other solutions. It actually captures more nuance in language by measuring sentiment on a spectrum of polarity. So every comment has a measurement to the degree in which it is positive or negative. And our methods are benchmarked against other models like sentiment, Vader, and others. You'll also notice on the x-axis, we have another measurement we call expressiveness. And so we devised a way to measure how passionate an individual's comment is on the basis of their length and strength in the comment. It's a really good way to filter out the noise and focus on quality feedback. And so some example insights we came up with this include for Sweet Earth, how are consumers making comparisons? Consumers will commonly use Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods as a benchmark, as shown in this top graph here. And then for Beyond Meat, where is the demand? Beyond Meat is not only available in all regions of the stores, but consumers will let you know that. And so one of the things we discovered just relates to how dominant Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods are as brands in this category. They were the first movers here, and that makes sense. And so when a brand introduces a new line of plant-based meat products, they compare to the quality of Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat. And this comment here is a great example of that. This currently leverages our product feedback classifier. It is focused on the quality of the product. If we're diving in on how people feel about products, it's a great way, or it's great that we have a gold standard to compare to here. But in this other example, and contrary to Beyond Meat's dominance as a brand, they're also still rolling out their products to grocers nationwide and internationally. So they weren't available everywhere at this time, which could be a weak point for them since some consumers will likely select an alternative, such as a competitor like Impossible Foods. But this is an opportunity for a challenger brand as well. And so we can use this sort of research to fill in the gaps where Beyond Meat is vulnerable. Then our last question, how do consumers engage and feel about meatless alternatives at restaurants and stores? What's great here is that we had already established a very solid framework to answer this question, and now we just needed to be able to measure these as it relates to the retailers. And so here are a couple insights that we came up with. First off, Beyond Meat, it had an aggressive rollout in retailers. Interestingly enough, we were kind of seeing that sort of disconnect with that brand in the previous slide, and so now we're seeing that they're kind of putting a focus on that. But they're also seeing some pretty significant bump ups in terms of partnering with different restaurants, such as KFC, in this instance with Beyond Chicken. But in another example with Burger King, a lot of the promotions that applied to their standard Whopper line didn't apply to the Impossible Whoppers. And so we're able to dive in on some insights for that. So let's see some of the graphs for context here. So in the top example, this, like we mentioned, that Beyond Meat is one of the more aggressive brands in terms of expansion to other stores and restaurants. So much of their effort here was put towards announcing new sizes and new packaging of various retailers. And now Beyond Chicken, a new product, Beyond Chicken, at KFC received a massive spike in consumer engagement, which you can actually see here in that green section there. But the visual below that, however, looks at the consumer response about the brand as it's sold at a restaurant. One of the most prominent examples comes from Impossible Foods and the Impossible Whopper sold at Burger King. So most of the response to the brand and restaurant actually relates to the fact that Burger King's discounts for the Whopper did not apply to the Impossible Whopper. With an insight like this, we could collaborate with a retailer or restaurant on these promotions, so our brand is put into better consideration. And if you'd like to learn more, or if you'd like to see some more of these examples in more detail, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much.